Well, hello, gentlemen. Welcome to Mining Now. This is our first on-site here. We're at the NORCAT Underground Training Center. We're going to be featuring Rogers today. I'm not going to try to do a technical intro, so I'm going to let you introduce yourselves. Paul, you've been on the show a couple times.
I have. Great to be on the show again.
Yeah, and Shaun, this is your first time doing the show with us.
Happy to be on the show today.
Just quick intro of your positions at Rogers.
Paul Howarth. I'm the Senior Director of Advanced Services for Rogers Communications.
And Shaun Mohammed, Senior Manager of Business Development for Advanced Solutions for Rogers Business.
Paul, let's start with you. And this is just a conversation where we can sort of jump back and forth, so you guys can kind of feed off each other. But we're going to be moving around at different locations here at NORCAT. Can you say sort of where we're standing now, and we're going to bring up some footage for the audience to see what we're actually looking at?
For sure. So we're going to walk the audience today through all the technical aspects and components of a cellular network. So what we thought we'd do is start with an example of an outdoor tower. And we've got a small one here at the NORCAT Center. What the audience will be able to see on the top is very, very typical. You'll see several radio units up on top and a large pizza-sized dish. That's actually the microwave unit. So this tower is actually fed from another radio unit way off in the distance, which is not unusual, particularly in a mining use case where you can't always get fiber optics on site. Microwave is kind of our go-to to get that backhaul, they call it, connectivity.
So you're connecting off an outside cellular system, this one, and so we're going to walk through sort of multiple layers, right down to how you can actually get connectivity inside the mine.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. This is an example of an outdoor unit, but when we get in the mine, you're going to see all the same components. Some of them will look a little bit differently. We don't need to use microwave underground. Underground at this center, we'll have fiber optic cables connecting all the components together, and then ultimately, this facility will allow you to go out to the internet or make a Microsoft Teams call or a Tasta push-to-talk call, all from underground using a cellular network from Rogers.
And Shaun, we're going to actually do that as part of this interview later on. You're going to be on a different location within the mine site. We're going to do a call. Can you kind of walk?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a push-to-talk call over cellular. So Paul will be you at one location, and I will be in a different drift, and I'll do a call, and we can communicate. And we're also going to do a call out to our colleague Claude in Montreal from underground.
Okay, I want to just safety is such a big part of the discussion around mining. So I wanted to walk through it from apologies if I'm using the wrong terminology, but the telecommunications side of it. Can you walk us through the safety element of the on-site here?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So cellular networks have number one, some safety regulations. The technical term is Safety Code 6. So there's certain power ratings and distances that you need to stay away from operating radios for safety reasons, and those are all defined within Safety Code 6. So as Rogers, we would have a radio engineering team look at all the infrastructure above ground and below ground and make sure that we can put the radios in places that keep people a safe distance away or tell us how much power we can use. So these radios that we have on the surface can be quite powerful. We wouldn't use those underground. Underground, you'll see something that's called a small cell. We would tune those all the way down to low power, very similar to a Wi-Fi signal for safety reasons. Other things to think about is telecom equipment in general is often powered from two sources. So when you're thinking about doing a lockout for power and safety reasons while you're doing work on that equipment, you need to make sure how is that equipment fed? It could be AC power, it could be DC power, there could be a UPS in the background between it. Not unusual to have telecom because it's so important to safety. You want your telecom working, but it could have those dual power sources in there, and you want to make sure that you've got them both disabled if you're doing work on that type of equipment.
Shaun, when we were actually driving here to site, I flew in from BC this morning, and we were driving in, and you were talking about some of the questions. I heard some of the questions that clients were actually asking you. When we walk through this project, will this answer a lot of common questions that clients have when they're trying to get connectivity on site?
Yes, it will. So it will show them the design and implementation of a network, how it would look in a site, industrial site similar to theirs, right? So we'll show them ubiquitous coverage from above ground, to underground. So right now we're standing next to our small cell, which is providing coverage for both the private network and public network. And when I walk underground, I will still have the private network coverage, and I won't disconnect, right? So a lot of mine operators and a lot of industrial sites, they want to know when I move from one part of the property to the other part, if I will still have connectivity or I will drop and reconnect. And the answer to that, it will be ubiquitous.
Yeah, that's actually a huge technical problem a lot of industrial customers face, particularly if you're working underground. Yeah, they want to know that, hey, I have connectivity and it's private for security or operational reasons on the site, but there's often reasons they need to connect. So in a mining scenario, when you're underground and you're coming to the surfaces, they start to use autonomous equipment. As they're using things like push-to-talk, they want to know that that connectivity will be seamless. So what we're doing here at NORCAT is actually quite unique. We're demonstrating the ability to be on the surface like we are today, attaching to an outdoor cell tower and be able to go underground and actually have the same connectivity regardless of where we are.
Yeah. Well, this is probably the time to move underground then.